Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B, and this is Arwen. That was Arwen. It is not even 7 o'clock in the morning, and I am awake, and I want to talk. So here I am. I am noticing a really big shift in energy that's kind of changing the trajectory of where my awakening has been for this last 6 years. So 2019, I got the wake-up call. 2021, I got the Kundalini, and that pushed me down this path in through Dark Night of the Soul. And it's weird because you kind of get used to it. You kind of get used to the cycles. It becomes familiar. My new normal. Like, my new normal was understanding there was going to be, and I'm not saying I'm completely out of it or anything, but my new normal was spending a lot of time in the interior realm, going within, doing the work within, being in recovery position. And, you know, a lot of people that have sought a Kundalini awakening have done so through paths that have previously been laid for others, you know, following the path of Kundalini yoga or meditative process. But my path was very much carving my own path. And I think many of you out there might resonate with that, because if you've had a spontaneous Kundalini, you weren't out preparing for it. You were dealing with it. Those are two different approaches to a spiritual awakening. You know, this path has people 20 years practicing under tutelage of a guru, and, you know, practicing certain techniques, and, you know, bandhas and locks and mudras and lots of training. Where this path is, la-di-da, I'm going along, living my life, everything's kind of crap, but whatever, I'm tolerating it, and I'm dealing the best I can because I have a lot of trauma, and then boom, I have a Kundalini awakening, and now what do? Oh my God, what's happening to me? This is horrible, this is crazy. So instead of lotus position, the majority of the time is spent in recovery position, which is like being in a ball in your bed, bawling, crying, and trying to survive, or perhaps legs up against the wall position, where you're just trying to breathe through the anxiety that's happening, or even eventually child's pose of, you know, like, I surrender. I surrender. Dear God, I surrender. So these paths look a little bit different. There's more than one path to enlightenment, is what I'm discovering. And very much perhaps the reason why thousands of people, millions of people have not already reached enlightenment is because these other particular paths that are already carved out only work for certain people. Whereas these paths here of being plummeted into it is the chosen path of my people, the black sheeps out there, the ones that are like fumbling around through the dark and trying to find the way out. So this has been my path. My path has been the path that I have carved with my spiritual machete in hand, going, I'm going to get myself out of this one way or another. I'm going to get myself out of this. And that sometimes has meant, you know, total exhaustion and total collapse. My path has not been a pretty path. It's not been the path of, you know, angels singing. It's been the path of, you know, it's been ugly. So it has. But I've walked the path. I've traversed the darkness. I've gone into the shadow. I've gone into the muck. And this has been my familiar for 4 solid years. And what is happening now is, I don't know. That's just it. It's not familiar. It is new. It is, I'm curious. There is a new sense of curiosity that has developed. And what has brought about this shift has been Spirit more and more is forcing me to be in my exterior world as opposed to the interior world where, I'm collapsed. And when you're in recovery position, all you can do is feel and sense within and pray and, please get me through this. The overwhelming feeling and the thoughts, oh my God, the crazy thoughts that are happening in recovery position. And I didn't spend days there. I spent months there, months recovering, processing through the trauma. And it was a painful process. And now Spirit is like, I need you to come out. We're coming out of the muck and we're going out into the world. So all these things, the divine timing that is everything orchestrated, had me trapped in certain locations for periods of time. My house, I was trapped there. I couldn't leave. Even when I got to the point where emotionally and mentally I was ready to leave, legally I couldn't. I was stuck there. I was in a legal battle. So Spirit was like, you're not going anywhere. I need you here. And I need you in isolation to a certain extent to just be in it, to just be in it. And then my legal situation after 3 years resolved itself, allowing me to move to another location. And that one also proved to be a challenge, a dramatic, everything is a challenge, but a massive amount of tests involved with that. And then Spirit moved me again, and Spirit's going to move me again at the end of January. I'm moving 2.5 hours away, and I'm at peace with that. I'm okay with that. But in this picking me up and moving me each time, what has happened is I'm forced to go out into the 3D world again and deal with stuff. And some of the stuff that I've been dealing with is, the plan was always, as soon as I get out of my house, which would free up money and liquidate my assets, that I'd be able to then reinvest said assets into buying a car and getting myself set up with a car and a driver's license. So as soon as I moved, I was on to the next on the unfuck it list, and that was get myself sorted with driving lessons. And so I did my driving lessons and I got my license on my first try, which I was very impressed with. And I bought myself a car, and now I'm in a car, right? So I've been moved up out of my bed and into a car, and I'm finding it fascinating observing the lessons that are coming with that, because when you're in a car, you can't be in your interior world. You cannot. So I have spent 6 solid years, basically, 80 to 90% of the time in the interior world. And then boom, now I'm in a car and I need to be hyper focused. So the focus has completely shifted into my exterior reality. Where are cars? Where are people? What are the lights doing? I am like this. I'm in hyper observance, not of my sensory system, not of what's happening in my body, in my emotions, in my mind, in my spirit, but what is happening out there. what's happening out there in the world. And all these other things are being orchestrated, which is forcing me to go to appointments with people and have interactions with people. And, you know, yesterday was a challenging day for me because I'm not confident at all driving yet. This has been a fear that I've had for my whole life. So when you are facing fears, whether they're ridiculous or not understood by somebody else, it's a real authentic fear for you. You know, I also used to have like a terrifying fear of spiders. I luckily have reduced that down to like a mild distaste for them. And that's like exposure, and like they're not going to hurt me. You know, you need to go through these, but everybody has fears, and one person's fears aren't worse than another person's fears. In their perspective, all fears are kind of created a little bit equally to that person, in the sense that like it can be very overwhelming. So here I am, and Spirit is forcing me to like go out in the world. Arwen has been sick, which has put me into, I have to go to the vet. I have to deal with that situation. She is on medications and she is recovering. And I'm hoping that she has we figured this out, and with her new diet and her new life. So then I'm going to the pet store. Then yesterday I had to go and sign my will. So I'm going to lawyers' offices, and I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going grocery shopping, which is new to me as well. Going to a grocery store through my awakening, that was no, that wasn't happening. I had food delivered because I didn't drive. So it was a necessity as well as a convenience. And so here I am going out into the outer world, and it's like, what is happening? Like, what is happening? I got kind of used to going the cycles of Dark Night of the Soul and the cycles of being in the void where nothing is happening. Like, I mean, nothing is happening. And now this is the reintegration phase that I am currently in, but it's a process, and every single day I'm waking up like, okay, what's next? What's happening next? You know, going yesterday alone was the first time I've ever filled up a car. The first time I've ever driven in a parking garage. The first time I've ever driven to to the nearby town that I'm in, Kitchener. The first time I've ever, you know, like there was just the first time I've ever. And I kind of got the message, get used to it. Get used to the first time you ever. Because nothing in my life looks like it used to. And because I vibrationally am not the same person that I was, I can't get a repetition of anything that once was. Everything that comes in now is going to be new. The first time I ever. So I'm like, what's the next first time? What is it gonna look like? Oh my God, like what could it be? You know, because this is a whole new territory. This is a whole new world that I am currently experiencing and facing. I have new friends, and I'm like, are they going to stick? Like, what's going to happen there? So there's a shifting into an energetic frequency that's pulling me up out of the lower frequencies and pulling me up into new emotional frequencies, like appreciation, like forgiveness for myself primarily. You know, when it comes to some of these higher energies, I want to talk a little bit about that, right? Because there's a lot of things that people say in the spiritual community or health and wellness communities that are minimizing, and they are, victim blaming or shaming, and they are just outright irritating. So the one thing that I've noticed on my awakening path, and I've been talking 4 years, is it takes time. It takes however long it's gonna take. And all these comments like, let it go, just move on, count your blessings, they're just laden with hurry up. They're laden with this notion that you need to speed up your grief. Your grief is becoming problematic because you've been doing it. Yeah, we tolerated the fact that you were grieving for a couple months, but it's been 4 years. Get over it. Just think happy thoughts. Oh, that one. That one's one that to tell somebody that's suffering with fear and PTSD. And listen, fear is no joke. It is no joke. The awakenings are no joke. But when you have debilitating, intrusive thoughts on your awakening journey, and insane anxiety or panic or terror, and then to have somebody who's a healer, or somebody who's spiritually attuned, say something like, you need to just change your thinking, is just about one of the most smarmy kind of comments that you can hear. And you all out there have my permission to not like it, to be like, well, fuck you kind of thing, because it is non-helpful. It lacks compassion. It is completely and utterly just bypassing the process is what it is. It's saying, I'm not comfortable in my own emotions, so I don't want you to have emotions either. And that's pretty much society. Society is like that, where it's constantly minimizing and further diagnosing, making emotions or the emotional process that is an awakening a disorder. Oh, you've got emotions that are down and depressed. That's depression. So here's a script for that. Here's a diagnosis for that, and here's a script for that. You're experiencing anxiety. Oh, that's a disorder. So here, have some meds for that. None of these meds actually cure anything. You know that, right? That's not what they're for. That's not the point of them. What they are is to minimize the symptoms. So it's to minimize them, to minimize you and your experiencing of being a human. And then there's the all-time favorite, which is, you've got high days and low days. Oh, you're bipolar. Here you go. How about we just crumple up all of those diagnoses and throw them in? How about that? Listen, I'm not saying that there isn't mental health problems in the world. There is a massive mental health problem in the world, but how we are handling it isn't working. When 70% of your population is on pharmaceuticals, that's not the sign of a healthy population. That's the sign of companies making a lot of money and telling people that the problem is them, instead of understanding that the symptoms that you are experiencing are symptomatic of the problem. But what's the problem? Well, the environment is the problem. The environment that we're all forced to deal with. We are highly sensitive beings with these incredible emotive systems, and they're all offline and out of whack because the environment that we're living in is out of whack, right? So we've got all this stress about how we're going to survive, and with constant increasing costs and political this and that I don't even pay attention to, and nor should you, especially if you're experiencing fear. Turn the television off. And then we have all this like inundation from society saying to us constantly that we're not enough or we're too much. You're not skinny enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not smart enough, you're not successful enough, you're not this enough. So we're like, oh my God, I'm not enough. Or you're too much. You're too much feeling, you're too dramatic, you're too sensitive, you're too, oh my God, I'm too, so we're constantly in an assault to the system. So of course people are depressed. And then you add to the mix, all the trauma that people are walking around with because of their childhood that has been generational trauma and cultural trauma and, ancestral trauma that's passed on, and then it's socially ignored. All of us are going to ignore the trauma. There's no trauma. It's like the pink elephant in the room. We're in a swarm of pink elephants, and we're like, there's no pink elephants here. I just need to take another antidepressant, and I'm going to see that the world is fine. The world is not fine, okay? The world is not fine. We're destroying the very environment that we require to survive. Let's poison the water and the air. That doesn't seem very fine. Let's completely and utterly separate out our health and wellness system from what was at one point in ancient times, still is in certain cultures, but not ours, a holistic approach to health and wellness that looks at mind, body, emotions, and soul, the whole person. No. Let's look at a person through a microscope. And when we can't see them through the microscope, let's just make stuff up. The DSM is not based on science. It's just a lot of made up things. Now, I'm not saying some of those diagnoses haven't had observational things, but, depression, I was lied to and was told that depression is an imbalance in my serotonin, not realizing that there was no brain chemistry scans that proved that fact, And if my brain chemistry was imbalanced, why? Why was it imbalanced? Oh, it was imbalanced because of narcissistic abuse. How about that? How about we look at the abuses that people are being forced to endure in their households where they're supposed to be safe, where their nervous system is supposed to be safe? They're enduring abuse on a daily basis. So we've got an environment outside of us that is completely and utterly messed up. Environment, education, medical system, our food system, and the political systems, the economic systems. How are all those working, right? Are they all healthy? But we're a part of that system. And then we've got inside our home system with, stressors for survival, stressors about able to pay for bills, stressors about dealing with relationship patterning that is abusive. So we've got toxicity within the household. We've got toxicity outside of the household. But yet we label the person, the individual person, as being disordered. We stigmatize them. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because on my quest for health and wellness, it required me to reverse the landscape of the interior realm. Listen, the entire world was blaming me, so I might as well blame me too. So I'm going to look within. So I went within. I spent 4 years looking within, healing everything I could heal. The more I focused my intention within on every ache, pain, everything that happened to me, and some of those things weren't even my things, is what I discovered. You know, as I was cleaning out the closet known as Stacy, you know, going in and like getting into the muck to unfuck and clear everything out, a lot of that stuff wasn't even mine. A lot of that stuff wasn't even me. But I was taking ownership of it because all my life people were putting upon me labels and putting upon me descriptors. And a lot of those things weren't me. So I was clearing that out. And a lot of the thoughts weren't mine. And a lot of the emotions weren't even mine. And a lot of the health and wellness stuff, it wasn't mine either, because I'm clairsentient and I take on other people's stuff. I'm like a sponge. So if energetically I am like a sponge, sucking in what? Sucking in the environment around me. So I'm sucking in my immediate environment, which is toxic because I'm married to somebody who's abusing me. And the world outside of that is even toxic because it's supporting that to all stay in place. When I help outside of the toxic bubble that I was in, I just met another toxic bubble, which was the medical bubble that blamed me. Despite going to like many social workers with this person who put on the charm like there was no tomorrow. So it was never identified that the cause of your depression, the cause of your anxiety, is your environment. You need to leave this environment. It's unhealthy. Nobody ever said that to me. Nobody ever said that to me. They're like, oh, well, it must be you. Here, have some medications. So you can go back home into your toxic environment and tolerate it. That's insanity, is what that is. So we've got these toxic bubbles within toxic bubbles, within toxic bubbles, within toxic bubbles. And it's been a process of getting myself out of all those bubbles. And now I'm like outside of all those bubbles. I've freed myself from that. And now I'm like I'm sure I'm still in the matrix. So I'm still in the toxicity and I'm like being called to come out of my own, because this is how we heal the world. We heal the world by healing ourselves. So I had to go on a massive process of go into every ache and every pain and every sorrow and everything. Every physical, every emotional, every thought, why am I having this thought? Is this thought real? Is this thought accurate? And most of the thoughts were liars. Most of the thoughts were liars is what I've discovered. And I don't listen to those. I treat my brain right now like it's a calculator that's got a few wires out there because it keeps trying to pump fear towards me. And I'm like, sitting in the car going, I am a competent driver. I passed my test. If they trust me to drive, then I trust me to drive. I'm okay. All I can do. And so then I'm now observing what's happening in my outer realm. And I'm like, okay, I can only ever do one block at a time. So there's no point in me stressing about what's going to happen in Kitchener when I'm not there. I can only do what one car in front of me allows me to do. So even the processes of learning to drive is teaching me now how to navigate the world outside of myself. And this is exciting because if I'm being taught how to learn to navigate the world outside of myself, and I'm understanding that I can only do ever one block at a time, I can only ever be present to my certain situation outside of myself, that learning to drive is becoming the most profound spiritual teacher ever. Because it's reminding me that predicting the future is way above my pay grade. Okay? On the spiritual realm. Everybody's worried about this toxic world that is outside of ourselves. But that's only producing more worry and fear. So that's not helping the situation. Helping the situation is, well, what can I deal with right here, right now? Oh, I can deal with me. I can deal with this ache or pain. I can deal with this drive. So on the interior, first we need to go to the interior and heal the body. Then we need to go to the next level of our energetics and heal the emotions. Then we need to go and heal the mind. Then we need to go and heal our spiritual imprint, which is a little bit out here. Now we're becoming outside of ourselves. We're no longer inside, we're outside, and we're like, okay, how far can I go? Oh, I can go 1 block at a time. That's as far as I can go. Then that's as far as I can worry about. Then that's as far as I can fix. I cannot fix what's happening tomorrow. I cannot know what's happening next week. Okay, I may be given a little bit of heads up here and there, like, yes, the end of January, I'm moving to a new place. Other than that, I don't know. What will I do when I get there? What will it be like? Will I meet people? Will I have friends? Will there be a cute guy in a kilt? That'd be kind of cool. I doubt there will be in the middle of January, but, I don't know. I have no idea, and I have to be okay not knowing. So driving is teaching me it's okay to not know. I just need to know where I am right now. I need to hyper focus on where I am right now. So this lesson is coming out as a reminder, I think, not only to me, but to us all, that we need to hyper focus on what's going on right here, right now. You can't control what's going on over there then. Like, oh, what's happening in Washington? I don't know. I can't control it. I have zero power in reference to that. Will there come a point in time when I can have an influence on American politics? No. That point won't come. You maybe will come a point, and that's called voting. And so on that particular day, you can go and you can vote. Or if there's on a particular day, somebody says, let's, get together and have a big protest, a peaceful protest to sit in. You can go and participate with that. But other than doing those two things, you can't do anything. So there's no point in worrying about it. There's zero point in worrying about it. That's causing your energetics to be out of balance and causing you to be in a state of fear. That's what you can control. So then you have to go back in again and go, oh, I got to do more work again. I got to do more work on me again because I'm panicked because something's happening in Washington. Same for Canada. Okay, so I can go and I can show up on the day that vote. And really, I know that vote is being thrown away because of the system as it is a toxic system politically. As long as we have first past the post, which means there's not representation, there's not each vote counts, it counts within this little frame. Well, if within this little frame, I am this party and most of the other people are that, then my vote doesn't count. It's not proportional voting. So I'm fully cognizant of the fact that within this bubble, there's toxicity, there's problems, there's things that don't work, but I have zero control over that. I can't control it. I can show up on the day and throw my vote away just because I at least I'm showing up and doing something. That's my day. And then for the rest of the next 4 years, I'm not going to worry about it. There's zero worry I'm going to do about that particular situation. Can I control how companies manage their processes? No, can't control that either. That's so I can control what I buy. I can vote and use my purchasing power to make an impact. It's negligible, but it's an impact. I can choose, am I going to buy this company or this company? I can choose to go to this store or that store. So I do have some power in my external reality that makes little drops. And then I go, okay, the rest of it's out of my control. It's not within my control. What can I control is this body, is this emotions, is this mind, is this spirit, and well, actually the spirit kind of controls me, other way around. That's a surrendering. And then this vehicle. So the vehicle that I am in is teaching me lessons now. It's teaching me that I'm allowed to take up a certain amount of space. So the people pleasing that I used to do, I can't do in a car. And I love that. That's really cool. I'm like, oh, you think I'm driving too slow? Sucks to be you. This is how slow I'm going to drive, because I'm not going to speed and put myself in harm's way because you're an asshole behind me. So I'm loving that lesson that's coming in. The lesson that is, I have a right to be. Root chakra. I have a right to be. I have a right to exist. I have a right to take up space. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. Pass me. That's your problem. That's not my problem. I can't control what he does behind me who's honking at me. And I can't control what's coming in front of me. I can control the vehicle. So I'm loving the fact that Spirit is moving me and pushing me into the outer world to show me what it is that I can control within the outer world. Because control has been a big issue for me. It really has. I've wanted to control the universe. I seriously, I thought I wanted to micromanage the universe because I thought I could do a better job of it than God. Because when I looked out at my situations, my relationships, my job situations, I was not happy. I didn't like the way that it went. I always saw a better way to do it. And that ruffled feathers and that irritated people. And that's okay. I've learned my lesson. I cannot influence other people like that. That's not how the change is going to come. You know, a lot of us on this awakening path are all about, I want the new earth. I want the new way. I want Age of Aquarius. I want a higher level of consciousness. So what I have learned is this. To change the world, you need to change yourself. Thank you, Gandhi, for that one. Really, you do have to be the change. You have to go in. You have to heal this. If you are looking outside of yourself complaining about something, then there's something inside of you that needs healing. It wouldn't exist in your outer world unless there was something inside of you that was like, you need to heal it. So I had to heal me to remove myself from the relationship that was toxic. Or in my case, I was like, get out. But like, I had to change my life. Nobody else was going to change my life for me. And nobody else was going to change my life outside of me. I had to do the work. I had to heal my body. So number one, you have to work on your body. If you're still eating all the toxic things that are creating an environment within your body that is war. So if you have inflammation in your body, you have war in your body. And then you look at the world and you go, why is there war? Because there's war inside of us. So when we take out the war that is going on inside of us, it creates peace. If we create peace inside of us, then the outer reality has to be influenced thus as the law of balance. The law of as within, so without. That's a law. It's the law of correspondence. So the more you heal yourself, the more you are influencing the outer reality, not by going out into the outer reality and going, everybody needs to change. Wake up, everyone. Wake up. When did everybody wake up? When will those sheeple wake up? When? Go within. That's when. When you do the work. When you stop eating the crappy foods, when you get out of the shitty relationships, when you take the time to be in recovery position and cry. That's when. When millions of people do that, then the outer reality changes. Because it can't coexist if you've changed. It can't. It's against the law of the universe. So this pathway that is the inner path, the inner work, the inner realm is the path. You know, somebody was talking, we were talking about, the path of ascension. There is no path of ascension. It's a path of descension. You have to go down to go through the other side. It's like digging your way to China. dig through all the muck, the gunk, the trauma, the wounds, the this. Dig a tunnel. Dig a tunnel. We got to keep on digging. We're going down. We're not going up. And then we get out the other side and we're like, whoa, I have a fancy new car. I have a new life. I have new friends. I have a new situation. I'm in a totally new reality. I'm in a totally new reality. Completely every single thing about my life has changed. There is nothing the same. Except for maybe my cat. But even she's not the same. She's changed. She's been processing through, her and I are tag team. And this is what's kind of funny, just as a little side. Here she's processing through raging bladder infection. And I'm either processing through her bladder infection, which is most likely, or, because of clairsentience. Clairsentience is a gift and a half. Not really. But that's why if it wasn't for my clairsentience, I wouldn't have as much knowledge as I do about health and wellness. For example, right now I am drinking nettle and parsley tea. Does it taste good? Nope. But it's a diuretic. So I'm helping the symptoms that I have of her bladder infection. Yep. That's why I have this my special interest topic of health and wellness. I know all these different healings because I've experienced it, even though it wasn't mine. Right? I've been going through this has been my education, has been dealing with my own health issues, or at least what I perceived with my own health issues. I went to the hospital because I thought I was having kidney stones. I was having somebody else's kidney stones because all the tests came back negative. I've had every symptom and every discomfort and every out there, which is why I know all the health and wellness, the home remedies, the DIY, the self-made strategies to heal all kinds of conditions. Because it took me a really long time to figure out that all these conditions, or a large majority of these conditions that I was having, were somebody else's conditions. And that was, healer, heal thyself. The wounded healer archetype learns her trade. The shaman learns their trade because they have to heal all this shit all the time, over and over again, constantly having different health concerns. So I had to spend a large majority of time healing and working on the body so that I would have that knowledge that, hey, nettle and parsley tea helps your bladder. And tastes not so pleasant, but I eat for functionality. If you need help, I've actually had a couple of people say to me lately, that they're seriously thinking about altering their diet. Now, listen, I have a whole bunch of videos on the body, on food, on a whole, emotions, check out the playlists. Go through the playlists, because with over 800 videos, it might be hard to navigate my channel. I have Kundalini playlists. I have Twin Flame Journey playlists. I have Dark Night of the Soul playlists, The Void playlists. Because on this process, it's like going to a giant university, and each campus specializes in something different. So you need to go in to the body and heal the body. If you need help healing your body, please reach out. If you have questions, just ask and I will make a video on that. Otherwise, I might have already done that in the body playlist. If you're struggling with the emotions, I have an emotions playlist. If you have any questions, please reach out. I am here in whatever capacity I can be to be a supportive guide on this path of awakening, which is very, very challenging. And we are all walking each other home, While I might be going through some reintegration right now, we are all going together. It's a wave Okay, it's a wave, and there are going to be some waves behind us, and it's a wave, and it's bringing that to, just because there's a wave behind me doesn't mean that like I'm better. I'm still in the same ocean. Okay, so egoically, my ego died and keeps dying, and then gets back up again. But like my ego doesn't think I'm not better or more advanced or like superior in any way, shape, or form. We're all in the same ocean, on the same planet, in the same universe. Okay, so we need to work together and support each other. And the one way that I am doing that is I have my Spiritual Warrior Support Group on Facebook, absolutely free. I have free Zoom meetings Wednesdays and Fridays. Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fridays, 12 noon. Come join those, and you can meet other spiritual warriors that have just as much input and experience themselves. So it's an open forum discussion. It is not me leading you. And yes, I do some teachings when questions are asked, but it's an open forum discussion. So it's not like the other Kundalini meetings that I have attended. And those are good too. Maybe you want to attend some of those. Brent Spirit's meeting was a very good meeting. I highly recommend it if you're going through Kundalini Awakening. Or Craig Holliday's meetings are fabulous as well. There's another woman, and I can't remember her name right now. Her name is R-E-H-I, but embodiment something. So there are guides out there for you, and use them, because we can support each other on the internal journey is what we can do. I am sending absolutely everyone out there all of my love and compassion and understanding and support in any way, shape, or form. If you want to book a one-on-one with me, that is always available. Just send me off an email. And with that all said, peace in.